expect until I put it on.
Here we are, the sharp point of the pencil.
Right, here we go.
Salt is a record that I have been working on and off for about 27 years. It was the thing I was doing before Above and Beyond. Yeah, so this is the tapes. They're basically 8-track, quarter-inch tapes. By the time I got finished recording these, the tape machine broke, and then Above and Beyond came along. Yeah, that sounded lovely.
Yeah, good song.
Using Myles, who's done all the acoustic albums, in fact, I think he's done most of our albums, felt like that's what I should do. And I think it was entirely justified to go to Abbey Road to master it. In those passages where I'm singing and the backing vocals are going, ooh, la, 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 yeah. I guess in my head, maybe because they're brighter, they're sounding now louder. It's one of those things where I'm having mixed paranoia about that. When you're listening to it during the mastering session, you're always really on edge because this is like the final thing. This is it going into the form that people are going to hear it. But for the most part, he just made it sound amazing. He's our favourite mastering engineer for a reason.
The main thing I've done is just to put some sort of really high top on it, make it a bit more airy and poppy sounding.
Right.
Just so you can hear the life in the track.
The songs for the album were written mostly in 1994, 1995. They all came in a bit of a burst due to the intervention of a young lady called Shelley. I played everything on it. I did everything on this, produced it, arranged it, played it, sang it, lived it. Shelley had a very profound effect on my life. I was so inspired by her that I started writing songs about her. She was a real character. She'd had a very hard and interesting life. I was finding her to be quite the dramatic interjection into my life. And I think it's safe to say my life changed forever. It's nice, you get a release. You stop listening to them for a little while, and then you rediscover them. It's an exciting process of drawing the line.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Shelley was the person that introduced me to dance music and clubbing in its fullest sense. I had a yellow car, and I used to wear a yellow fleece when I was driving the yellow car. Shelley, in that whole period, gave rise to this person. I was as out there as I could possibly be. And I suppose that is the person that you got to know in Above and Beyond, because that was the way I ran, I suppose. I was mates with a number of people who were coming clubbing with us, including Bob Bradley, who ended up being the musical director of the acoustic project. And when Shelley left to go back to America, Bob agreed that he would help me record the songs. Pretty soon we had about 7 songs recorded and mixed down on 8-track.
How do you feel about letting go of them after 25 years?
It's absolutely time. A version of these songs has been on pretty much every Macintosh computer I've had since 1996. It's one of those things like, one day this will come out, one day this will come out. The record represents this transition for me, writing songs about World War III and novels and everything else, and writing songs about my life. And that kind of autobiographical or semi-autobiographical way of songwriting, that voice is kind of being developed during the space of those 9 songs. And that's the voice that I ended up using for Above and Beyond.
You wrote it the right way. You and a guitar, because it's got to have a good tune, basically, because you've got nothing else to hide it.
That was really all I knew how to do at the time.
You need more of that, really. We tend to over-embellish stuff a lot now, and it all sounds wonderful, but actually there's no real meat to it, you know, there's no heart in the song.
In some ways, to me, this album represents the birth of this idea that maybe, just maybe the people in your life are interesting enough to write songs about. If you describe how you're feeling honestly, there's a very good chance somebody else will feel the same way. When I've lived something, it just becomes a lot easier to write about and see it in 3D. It's the closest to the original. I've hardly done anything to it since 1997 either. For some reason, it just sort of worked. It just worked, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when it broke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Should we put that in?
Yeah.
It just works, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't want it to be too bright. I want it to sound like a record from 1997. I was not pulling any punches in these songs. I'm talking about somebody and being very blunt and honest about the troubles in her life and her strengths and her weaknesses and how we were interacting. The sad parts of my description of her on the songs were as important as the happy parts for her and for me, I think. I quite like dark. I think dark is good. I lick the salt from your skin, it tastes of someone within. Oh, won't you please let me in? I think that was the essential dynamic of the relationship. Have you affected somehow the balance between the backing vocals and the main vocal?
No.
Terrifying, this is terrifying. How much this process can change the level of the component parts. And so, yeah, just, you know, it's definitely better, but because it's different, it's terrifying, you know. Well, that's part of the process of letting go. Biker Babe was the first song title that came to mind. Shelley used to wear this Triumph motorbike t-shirt. She had a leather jacket. Biker Babe. This was my first foray into writing about somebody real. Giving her a character made it easier for me to write about her. I just basically projected her and me into an episode of Twin Peaks. And you can hear the traditional Twin Peaks guitar in the arrangement of Biker Babe. And the other thing that is very evident in Biker Babe is the backing vocals. Recording backing vocals with one microphone with Bob Bradley, not entirely sober, is one of the most fun things you can do. I learned something really valuable in this process, and it's gone on to be something that's valuable with Above and Beyond too, and I think it's probably the most important gift that you have as a songwriter, which is that you can live through this sort of difficult emotional process and you get to have the final word. You can describe it how you want to remember it. That is actually a wonderful gift. Sometimes I get these sort of phrases that pop out in the track Salt. There's this line, I never go fishing without ever wishing the catch might pull me in. And just when I'm thinking my whole world is shrinking, the big reel starts to spin. Obviously, if you remember Sun and Moon, a line in that, the big wheel starts to spin. Obviously, I'm just remembering this rhyme that was in my head.
Put a little bit of warmth into the vocal, nothing else. And the tube compressor. That's it.
That is a bit of a shock, because I did it all myself. You know, there's that sort of feeling like I was thinking...
Don't do it again, because you don't need me.
Great. It's much more nerve-wracking when it's just you. I think everything I've done in music has always been as part of a band. My only worry is that it feels colder somehow. Whilst the song is incredibly important in all of these things, this is about the arrangement so much as well. Getting into the swing of it now. You share the successes and you share the failures. There's a kind of protective thing that happens when there's 5 or 3 guys and you're just one of the guys. It feels slightly egotistical because it's just me, rather than something I'm a part of. There's nowhere to hide. Ta-da! Thank you very much. Yes, very emotional ending. I think you can't help but be transformed by that kind of experience. Maybe you play with me now, and everything comes to... I'm curious to see what people make of it.